Hi, I'm Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media, and it's time for our Monday live stream. And today's Monday live stream, I will, as always, answer questions from viewers who tune in to catch the stream because I actually really enjoy doing that. But as we get up and running, as we start spooling up today, what we are going to talk about are retail things that drive me crazy. So, I've had quite a few jobs in the firearms industry over my career. I've been in the media side. I've done print media production, I've done digital media production, I've done TV, done a lot on the media side. I've also been a professional shooter. I wouldn't call myself a professional shooter anymore because I don't shoot for money these days. I mostly shoot for fun, which is actually kind of better for me. And let's see, what else have I done? Professional shooter, media guy, instructor. I still teach a little bit, and we're actually going to be offering some classes here at National Armory, soon to be Gunway. But for the first time in my firearms industry career, I have started working retail. How do you get used to a CCW? As in, like, how do I get used to carrying? We'll get to that in a minute, but basically I just wear the gun a lot and then I get used to it. But today we're going to talk real briefly before I start taking questions about retail things. And I never really worked firearms retail before. I'd been in and out of some gun shops and some things like that, and I'd helped here or there. But we're in South Florida, by the way, Pompano Beach, National Armory. Come check us out. I never really worked a lot of direct retail, so coming down here to South Florida and working retail has been an enlightening experience. One of the things about being on the media side, which is where I've been before this, and being a professional shooter and an instructor, is you self-select your friends generally for similar levels or greater levels of competence. So most of the people that I'm friends with in the gun industry are good at shooting, they're serious defensive shooters, they're professional shooters, they're trainers, things like that. And we tend to stay in our circle. And I didn't really interact with the general gun-owning public a lot. So a lot of the stuff that people would talk about would seem kind of alien to me. Like, I don't actually know anybody personally who owns a Taurus Judge, or at least anyone that admits to owning a Taurus Judge. So that's kind of my circle of friends. But to talk about retail stuff, there's some funny stuff that happens. One of my favorite things, well, not favorite things, one of the things that I don't believe in, because I like making money, is I don't correct people's grammar or lingo when they come in the store. If some dude wants to come in my store and buy a Glock 40 with extendos and what he's actually talking about is a high point with an extended magazine, I will sell him that high point with that extended magazine because I like money. That's really, net income is very important to me. I like this job. I like being able to make money doing this job. Oh no! It says I have a very bad connection. Come on, internets. Fuck you and your very bad connection. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna keep talking and hopefully my very bad connection will get better. Or maybe if we move the camera a little bit, because the Wi-Fi is kind of spotty over here. All right, we're gonna try this. What's on the wall? Yeah. All right, so anyway, back to retail things. So, a good example of retail stuff that drives me bananas is stop touching your gun. That's the title of the video. Please stop touching your gun. I allow concealed carry in this store. It's partly my store and I'm the general manager, so my choice is to allow people to carry their guns. And you know what? I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with people carrying their guns in the store. What I don't like is when people come in the store and they're carrying a gun and they say, hey, do you have a holster for this? And then the next thing you know, they've whipped their gun out and they're waving it around like, hey, look at my gun. Please don't do that. If you have a gun that you would like us to shop a holster for you, or you need ammunition for, or you need magazines for, or anything along those lines, just tell me what kind of gun it is and then say, hey, I have it right here. can I take it out and show it to you? And then I will say yes or no, depending on the circumstances. Yes, a Glock 23 is a great carry gun. For example, if you have a Glock 23 as a carry gun, and you come in and you're like, hey, I'm looking for a holster for a Glock 23, don't whip it out of your pants and and wave it around. Just be like, hey, I'm carrying my gun on me, I'm looking for a holster or magazines, can I show it to you? And then we will proceed in an appropriate way to deal with that. Don't just pull it out. That's number one. Number two, this one's actually gross, and I don't know why people do this. All right, people will be looking for guns for concealed carry. Like, let's say this is a real gun, and they're like, oh yeah, I wonder if this will work. And then without using any sort of holster or anything in between the gun and their skivvies, they'll just jam the gun down their pants, touching their nasty ass skivvies. I actually told a guy, hey, don't put my fucking guns in your pants. It's gross. Why do people do that? That doesn't make any kind of sense to me. What? Why would you think it's okay to put this gun down your pants? Maybe someone can enlighten me on that one, because it doesn't make any kind of sense to me why you would think it's okay to take a gun that doesn't belong to you, that you haven't paid for, and shove it down your pants. That's super weird to me. Other things that drive me bananas, or when people come in, and this is this is kind of nitpicky on my part, but people will come in and they will ask to see basically every gun in the gun case. Ooh, can I see this one? Yes. Ooh, can I see this one? Yes. Ooh, can I see this one? Yes. And when you try to close the sale, when you try to make some money off of it, yeah, exactly. I want to buy this gun. Let me touch my dick with it. Why? It's fucking weird. So, but people will come in and they'll want to see every single gun in the gun case. Yes, I like Heine sights. They're great. And then when you finally are like, great, can we start the paperwork up for this, Glock 40 or Draco or whatever it is they want to buy? They're like, oh, I'm just looking. I can't afford a gun today. Well, thanks for wasting 15 minutes of my freaking time, dude. I hate it. I know that's a lot of people. And there's a big difference, too, between people who are shopping and they want to try stuff out because they don't know how it feels in their hand, and people who are just coming in to touch the goodies. Touch the goodies. Touch all the goodies. So, I've gotten a couple of questions. We're going to move over and answer those real quick. What do I think about the new Gen 5 Glocks? I haven't shot one yet. So all of this is based on what I've seen from the feature set and what I've seen on the internet. I like the features. I like no finger grooves. I like TB. No, it's not about not letting them shop. All right. So there's a kind of a difference, and you can tell when you do the retail, people who are shopping around versus people who are just coming in to touch guns. And it's kind of like the people who are shopping, they come in and they generally have questions. They're asking what's a more effective caliber, what's easier to conceal. They have questions that you can tell they are looking to make a purchase or a purchasing decision. Then there's the people who just come in and they're like, ooh, this is cool. Ooh, this is cool. Ooh, this is cool. And they just want to touch stuff because it's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. And I don't mind doing that, especially when it's slow and there's nothing else going on in the store. But a lot of times we're busy and there's, 5-10 people down here, and some people are just like, kick the tires, kick the tires. And all they want to do is kick tires, and they don't actually want to buy stuff. That's frustrating. And I understand it's sort of the way of retail, all right? It's, people go into Apple stores all the time, and they just touch phones, and then they go buy it on Best Buy or something like that, or on buy it on Amazon is where they'll go buy it. So, but back to the Gen 5. I have seen the specs for it. I like that it has no finger grooves. I like that it's got the Gen 4 stippling on the frame, so it's nice and aggressive. I like that it's got a slightly flared mag well and the base pads are bigger. I like that I can use my existing stock of 100 jillion Gen 4 mags with the Gen 5s. I like the thing that, for me, and it's because I'm a retard, the thing I like the most about it as a gun is that I can get it from the factory, from Glock, with Ameriglow sights on it. So instead of the crappy Glock plastic dovetail protectors or the Glock night sights, which are a step above the crappy Glock sights, I can get it with Ameriglow sights from the factory. I really like Ameriglows. They're actually what I use on my Glocks for carry. So I'm pretty excited about seeing the new Glock 17, Gen 5 Glock 17s and Glock 19s. I like that they're also only in 9mm. I really do actually like that they're just making them as 9mm, because I think that the 40 Smith & Wesson has moved past its relevance as a primary self-defense cartridge, and you see that in law enforcement agencies across the country switching away from 40 to 9mm. I will be doing a video coming up here in the near future of Gen 5 Glock versus M&P 2.0, and we're going to test them for accuracy and reliability, and yeah, pretty much accuracy and reliability, because those are the only things that really matter. All right, if I don't get any more questions here in the next 30-40 seconds because my connection sucks, what's my opinion on police trade-ins? Police trade-ins are great, all right? So what I just said about the 40 having moved on as a self-defense cartridge is generally my opinion, and I think it's correct. But let's say you've only got $300 to spend on a gun, or $350 to spend on a gun. Go get a police trade-in Glock 23 or a police trade-in Glock 22. You can get police trade-in Glocks in 40 Smith & Wesson right now for super duper cheap. And if you go and you buy a gun from a manufacturer who doesn't have the kind of quality rep, instead of dropping $350 on a used police trade-in Glock, you're crazy. You're just crazy. And the nice thing about these Gen 3s and Gen 4s that are getting traded in is you can drop in a 9mm conversion barrel for maybe another $150 and shoot 9mm. But yeah, so the 40 is moved past its primary days as a relevant law enforcement cartridge. Everybody's moving back to 9mm, FBI, major law enforcement agencies, everybody's going back to the 9, which is great. But, and what I said in my previous video about the 40 sucking for self-defense, I basically said because you can't, the 40 doesn't outperform the 9, and if you spend money to get a brand new 40, you're crazy. But caveat, if all you've got is $300 or $350 and you need a gun for self-defense, used police Glock 22 or Glock 23 is a great idea. I have owned one CZ. I had a CZ SP01 Shadow, which was great. I used it a little bit for competition, and then I sold it because I don't really keep guns. I also had a Dan Wesson 1911 in for testing, and for those that don't know, Dan Wesson is owned by CZ, and I shot 2001 rounds through that Dan Wesson. It was the Valkyrie Commander. It was my favorite 1911 that I've tested so far. I was sad to send it back when it was gone, but that was a great gun. The Apex Forward Set Sear Kit for the M&P is a great trigger kit that I would recommend only for competition use, not for personal defense or concealed carry. Yes, I have seen the Fusion 1911s. I have 4 of them in the store, and I've pulled one of the 9mm models to set aside for testing, because we do, I test 1911s a lot, and I shoot a ton of 1911s, so we're going to test one of the Fusion guns. From what I understand, the new owner of Fusion used to own Dan Wesson, wants to make cool 1911s, and the guns themselves, again, this is only function checking them and dry firing them. I haven't fired them myself, but the guns themselves look really great. The fit and finish are phenomenal. The slide, it's like it's gliding on the frame rail. So everything about them seems pretty great, and I'm excited to actually get out and test it. To answer the question on have I ever pulled my gun, one time I threw a cup of coffee at a guy and pulled my gun out, and then another time I hurt somebody's feelings once in self-defense. So if you Google Caleb Giddings coffee cup, you'll actually find memes and a reference to that story, which I'm not going to go into detail here because it's quite silly. All right, that's about it. What are my thoughts on Jesse James making guns? I don't know. I haven't seen him. I mean, he's a fabricator, and it's just cutting metal. If I could get a CZP-10, I absolutely would, but those things are rarer than hen's teeth. Like, they're really hard to find, and I can't get one from any of my distributors right now because every time I go in to try to order them, they're like, we don't have that. So I don't have one. But I am getting Gen 5 Glocks, and I think just maybe more people are going to be interested in the Gen 5 Glocks. Did you answer my question and I just missed it? I don't remember what your question was, Chris, because these are spinning pretty quickly. Will you hire Andy to do the commercials for this store? Andy is in the Witness Protection Program now, or the Army, or something like that. Okay, hang on. P229, 40 Smith & Wesson. Do you think it's worth it to get the 357 Sig Conversion Barrel? I have a stupid love obsession with the 357 Sig. I don't know why I like it, because it actually doesn't do anything ballistically that you can't do with a 9mm or with a 357 Magnum or a 40, or does some things you can't do with a 45. It is really, really great at barrier penetration. I will say that. 357 Sig, phenomenal at barrier penetration. And I kind of want to build a 10-inch carbine in 357 Sig and see how fast you can get those bullets going, but that's because I'm into weird things like that. As far as actually getting the conversion, here's one reason why I would do that, and just to have, maybe not to shoot or anything like that, but I remember all of the ammo panics of the last 10, 15 years, and I remember when you couldn't get 9mm, and it was very hard to get 40. You know what they always had a lot of is 357 Sig. So if you've got a 229 and you've got it in 40 and you want to grab that 357 Sig barrel and live out all your air marshal fantasies, go ahead and do it, and maybe just keep it in reserve in case we ever run out of 9mm again. Yep, that is our gun range running in the background. So for our locals, if you're down in the Florida area, we're on the corner of Atlantic and Andrews in Pompano Beach. Come in. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 9 most days, and then 12 to 6 on Sundays here at National Armory. Cops shoot for free 10 to 5, and military, ex-military shoots for free all day Monday. Ladies' Day is Tuesday. Come on down and check us out. I gotta go get back to work slinging gats over the table, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the live stream, even though our quality was a little uneven throughout it. I'm Caleb Giddings. Remember, run your gun, not your mouth.